meeting to order at whatever time it is.
12:02.
My thing says 12:02.
Yep.
All righty. And we have a quorum with Natalie and Marie and Margie and Scott. And we have Tabitha here. Thank you, everybody. Our first order of business is to approve minutes, which were sent as part of our packets. And so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the Wednesday, June 16th meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Scott seconded, thank you. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Everybody's good with them? Good. One thing I'll say, Tabitha, under unfinished business, it said Chair Billings report. Either take the S off my name or put a little apostrophe before the S. No big deal. It's just great. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. So the minutes are unanimously approved. Scott,
Right.
do we have any public communications that have come to us from anywhere, from anybody, Tabitha?
No.
No, and I have not received any either. And we don't have any citizens here to talk to us. So we'll move right on to our staff report. Turn it over to you, Tabitha.
Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff going on, actually, starting off with the ARPA allocations. So
And ARPA stands for?
because just going to say that the American Rescue Plan Act. So this is money that's coming out after the effects of COVID to help with the recovery and building back better efforts. So Groton has been awarded approximately $8.5 million that is going to be given to us in what they call 2 tranches. So we've already gotten the first tranche of money, which is about 4 and change. And then we'll get another $4 million over the course of the next couple of years. All the ARPA funding will need to be spent by 2026. So in order to fund the most comprehensive and worthy projects, the Long-Term Recovery Committee and OPDS, the Planning and Development Services, we're engaging in the public in ideas to seek feedback through an online platform. We're putting out newspaper articles shortly. And we'll also be setting up standalone kiosks, dedicated computers where people can use the survey materials online at the senior center and the community. I think the library, the senior center, and the community center are being discussed, so we haven't decided on where yet, but we will be doing that. So there's going to be a very robust engagement campaign. So you'll see a lot of information coming out about that. It's called Greater Groton. It's part of our new engagement platform called Greater Groton, where we really hope to get people talking, not on a Facebook type level, but more effectively towards solutions. Solutions and defensible decision making. So there'll be things on there where, like, we'll have a budget, kind of a game where you can take some of the money and put it where you think it should go and then submit that. There'll be kind of a contest for, we're going to do a photo contest to get people just to engage in, what makes this community so great. So it's going to be wide ranging and used by all the departments. So there'll be all sorts of projects on there.
Wonderful.
From that, so under the ARPA piece, once we have all of those ideas about proposed projects, then they'll be voted on and prioritized for what we're calling buckets of funding. And so then from those buckets of funding, we're going to release grant applications. So folks on nonprofit groups, businesses impacted can submit their applications for funding under those buckets. So that's all coming up in the next few months, so stay tuned. Does anyone have any questions about the ARPA planning and funding?
It became known that it
Exciting. It's
So
a lot of
if
money.
So if I understood you correctly, the money comes to the town, but the town can actually give buckets of money either to nonprofits, to businesses, so all the money doesn't have to be spent on town functions.
Correct. So we're actually,
Very-
we have one
very-
application and department heads are also submitting their ideas.
Uh-huh.
Because this funding can cover, anything from buying more masks and gloves to infrastructure needs for water. Water and broadband are prioritized for infrastructure. So those things are much more expensive, as you know, and we'll have to develop priorities with the long-term recovery committee.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
So yes, any questions, forward them my way on that. Other things we're working on, still, as usual, hammering away on the 2019 Small Cities COVID grant. That's the Mystic River Homes, as you all came in toward the facility, which was great. They're about a third of the way done with the mini splits right now. And the next bid is going to include some dumpster screening and repair, plumbing repair, the ADA upgrades to toilets and things like that that Andy talked about on our tour, the beauty parlor and moving that, as he said, to the carpentry shop, and handrails in the hallways, and carpets and the new pergola. So there's still quite a bit of work to be done, probably through the end of the year, if not longer than that.
Marge, you might need to mute yourself if that's possible, just because we're still hearing whatever you're listening to in the background. I
Oh,
think,
I'm sorry.
do you have the TV on or something?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing. If you can either turn the volume down on that or mute I don't know if you can mute yourself on the phone, but okay,
No,
so the other,
That better?
yes,
Okay,
yes, it is. Thank you.
sorry.
That's okay. So the other thing is just, Tabitha, for us to mention for Marge and Scott, who were not able to join us, that we did do a tour. You did set up the tours at Mystic River Homes
Mhm.
and the Groton Housing Authority. Maria and I were able to go on those.
I never
And-
heard anything about that.
Oh, invitations were sent to all of us, Scott.
One,
That was the tours were set up.
Lauren,
I think
Lauren-
the invitation. Sorry.
yeah, Lauren said that she had sent me the connection for today's meeting, and she had sent it to an old email. So perhaps there's a discrepancy there. The regular email for me should read Norcheck 6590 at fastmail.com.
I'll
Oh,
make a note of that, Scott. I'm not sure that's what we've been using.
Yeah, she'd been using SDP Vero at Fastmail. So I bet that's what's the problem.
Okay.
and Scott, what I would suggest is that you send an email to Tabitha and Lauren from your email.
Yes,
Okay.
And
please.
just do a back and forth thing. Make sure you send something and have them confirm they got it, and that they have, that way they'll,
I think,
you know, you've got a good connection between you and them, okay?
I think Tabitha has it because I've received mails about the last meeting from her. But Lauren sent the notice out for this meeting and went to, and she had the Norcheck meeting for that, but the actual link did not go to the new email. It went to the old one, and she has since said she's going to eliminate the old one.
Okay.
Okay,
Just
well,
as a
that's-
belt and suspenders, I think, Scott, as Natalie mentioned, if you could just send us both an email just to confirm, this is my
Okay.
email.
Sure. Am I coming
you.
through on video?
No,
Huh, wonder why.
You're a little snowman.
Ah, appropriate.
See if there's a button somewhere on your screen that says something about video, and it might have a line through it, or because mine has a thing that says stop video, and if I touch it, then the video activates. Of course, I'm on an iPad, it's a touch screen. Yours could be totally different. But anyway, I'm sorry if the invitation for the tour didn't get to you, Scott. I wondered when you weren't there because I knew you would have been interested and wanted to go on the tours.
Right.
And we can absolutely do it again. And certainly Tabitha, you don't necessarily have to come. If you set it up, I'd be happy to go on the tour again with Scott and Marge if she wants to come. Because it was, Marie, you agree it was very informative and interesting?
Very, very. I had no idea what to expect. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah. And Marie and I both were ready to move into the new apartments at the Groton Housing Authority. They were pretty lovely.
They're pretty nice.
They're pretty nice. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that we did do that. And Scott, Marge, if either of you want us to do it again sometime, please just send me and Tabitha an email
Sure.
letting us
Okay.
know, and we'll. Great.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, so the CDBG, not 2019 CDBG Community Development Block Grant, also called Small Cities Grant. That money is being spent over at Mystic River Homes. And when it gets spent down enough and when it's the next year that we can apply, I assume we expect to apply again for another round of.
My consultant and I talked this morning about the next round because it will be coming up soon. So we'll likely be going back for the Grasso Gardens work that we thought of pursuing this year and couldn't. So
Good. That would make me very happy. I would.
oh, hi,
Whoops.
Scott, screen. Your screen sharing, Scott.
Scott, now all of us are seeing a leader in the 2020 Gartner Magic Quadrant for Meeting Solutions thing on our screen.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. There we
There you
go.
go.
That's better.
I guess we'll just go dark.
Okay, and that's great, Tabitha. I'm delighted to hear that we will be going for funding and for work over at Grasso Gardens. That work is, we also saw Grasso Gardens, remember, Marie?
I remember Grasso Gardens.
And the
That was my
difference
least
between,
favorite.
yeah.
Needs work.
It
Yeah.
absolutely needs work. Yeah. And okay. Anything else
question.
on the 2019 CDBG from anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question on how the application is done. What's the criteria? And for our next bid, for instance, how do we name specific projects, or is the money just allocated based on population and stuff?
No, we named specific projects. We are limited to certain types of projects because they call it a non-entitlement community. So we don't get, like you just said, is it calculated and they give us money? That's an entitlement community like New London. They get a lot more funding and they're allowed to do a lot more with it.
Yeah.
Of course, they have a bigger issue there, so a bigger need. So we get a smaller amount of money, but we also, I think, we're limited to housing projects. I can look into the specifics. I don't know offhand, but there are some
that is the information I've looked into this. So, and Sue Cullen talked about this with us, Tabitha, that Groton, the CDBG funding we get, there's only 2 buckets we're eligible for.
Right.
And one of them is for low income housing. And in Groton, the only sort of public low income housing that we could spend the CDBG money on is the Groton Housing Authority properties at Pequot Village and Grasso Gardens and Mystic River Homes. So, and then the second pot of CDBG money we're eligible for is the housing rehabilitation money,
Right.
which you'll talk about in a minute, but
Yeah.
so there's not other CDBG funding, Scott, unfortunately, that Groton's eligible for. Norwich, New London, they get more and they are able to fund other kinds of community projects.
Right.
Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Within,
Well, if you have more question, ask it.
well, I was thinking ahead into the future when, for instance, the Spicer House becomes vacated by the Parks and Rec and might be available for something like sheltered women, or one of the categories I read in the federal act was displaced persons. Like if you had a house that burned down and the family was dispossessed of a house, that building might be refigured to provide housing for that type of situation.
I would think that would be something we could explore.
Yeah.
If it's not on the tax rolls already, and then it's not like we're taking it off the tax rolls, that would be the only.
Yeah, no, it's pleasantly used for the Parks and Rec, and they'll be moving over to the Fitch Junior High School Community Center. In fact, I think they're partially over there now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and so the two questions I would have is the CDBG money that we get, would we be allowed to spend the money on that?
Right.
Or are we limited to simply spending it on low-income housing? So that's one question that would have to be answered. Up
Yeah.
until now, my understanding has been we can only spend it on low-income housing, but that's a question.
But I think that would
And
qualify, would it not, Natalie? Might qualify as low income housing.
for displaced persons or other thing, again,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a question for you to research and come back to us and tell us.
Yes, a beautiful place, and it's small enough that it could provide emergency housing for, people that have been. We usually put them into a motel or something, don't we now?
Yeah,
Which,
if the shelters are full.
yeah,
And that's not really something the town is terribly involved in, is it, Tabitha? That
No, I mean,
There are-
that would be something like, I'm forgetting the organizations that do the
right?
domestic violence
I still
shelter
call
or-
it always home.
Oh, yeah, always home. Thank you.
Always
Yeah.
home. That's
They
yeah.
might, yeah, it might be something, because the issue there would be, what's the organization to take care of that whole?
Exactly. So that's one question is, could we use the funding to do that sort of thing? And then the other question we have to consider and be careful of is, in the town, the decision-making process for something like that, a proposal like that about Spicer House. Yeah, whose jurisdiction is that? Is that the town council's jurisdiction? Is that planning's planning and zoning? Is that our jurisdiction? Again, up until now,
yeah,
if it's not something that can be done with CDBG funding, then I'm not sure it falls under this committee to propose or, put forth that kind of idea. But those are questions to be sorted
checking.
out.
yeah.
Yeah. You have any thoughts, Tabitha, about that? How you
Yeah.
think?
I would like to put my head to it and take a look at eligibility and who might be involved, like you said, what department might lead that. The timeline would be tricky on it,
Sure.
given, you have people vacating, but I'm happy to look into it and get back to all of you via email, because our next
Oh.
meeting is probably too far off.
Great.
Cool. Good. All right, and the next item on our agenda is anything else on that, on 2019 CDBG? Going once, twice?
It's old.
Okay, housing rehabilitation program income.
Yep, so we're working with one client and her repairs, her roof repairs, siding repairs. Our consultant went out and talked to her yesterday about her eligibility requirements, and there's just some paperwork still that we're working on. But I did talk to the consultant about if we can get a couple more cases going, because we just had this one case that we were processing, and it looks like we can look at, because we've gotten some checks back from mortgages, and our fund is up to 200,000 now, so we can
Whoa,
explore a couple more, opening a few more cases, which is good.
Was there any progress in putting out more public information so that they could pick it up either at the library or through the agencies, the town agencies? Because it seems like I know it takes a long time to process an application, but we're not able to get any more funding if we keep it building rather than, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and that's why we're getting a couple more cases going, because if we can get 3 or 4 out the door this year, that would really help us.
Yeah.
But we do have the applications here at the annex. We have them at town hall. We could do something at the library. I did have a conversation with a woman, Diane Boduk, I think her name was, and she was asking about mobile homes and if they were eligible. And yes, they are eligible, but it's not widely known. So she was going to speak to some folks that she knew who might need work done. So I gave her the application to make copies of.
Local churches too might be a good source of referrals. Because pastors a lot of times know what's going on with the family before they go to any agencies.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
so the issue we're really talking about there is sort of how to advertise, market, promote,
Yeah,
make
the
known
service.
that
Right.
this funding is available and what it's available for.
I could put something on Facebook. I just hate to market it too much because it comes with a caveat of you're probably going to sit on this list for at least a year, if not more.
You're going to sit on the what? I'm sorry.
The waiting list,
Waiting list.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I know, I mean, for the people that are on the waiting list, they're like, well, I'm willing to wait. We just
Yes,
wish
yeah.
the situation was better.
Is the bottleneck processing? Could that be speeded up in any way?
So we have to do what's called an environmental, it's ERR, so environmental impact report for every project. And and it's a matter of putting it together on my time, yes, but then I have to send the various pieces of it to all the state agencies and they have to review it, get back to me. So it's, yeah, I mean, processing is the bottleneck. It's me,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah. Can the committee help in any way?
Not really,
No.
because it all has to
Okay.
be done. So particularly, I work with the consultant on everything. You know, it's some of this
Yeah.
stuff is so silly. It's like formatting changes on a Word document.
True. Yeah.
I swear CDBG is like 50% formatting Word documents.
Oh,
So, because these, state agencies require, and that's why we've been talking about with the ARPA money, maybe carving out money for housing rehab that's not, that doesn't have to go through this kind of process.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's good.
mm.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I
might be
just
a good
feel
idea.
like, yeah, thank you.
I'm going to document it this afternoon instead of next Thursday. Bye.
Oh.
So, instead of Facebook, I know somehow the idea of putting it on Facebook makes me go, "Ooh, I don't know about that." But
Yeah.
is it on the, anywhere on the town website? Is it anywhere on Channel 2? You know, when they sometimes put up announcements on Channel 2,
Yeah, we could do that too. Yeah.
maybe
put it on
something
the
like that
website.
would be a place to start.
Well, if the bottleneck is processing, advertising is not going to help. It's just going to add to the problem. Hello?
Yeah.
Depending
Agreed.
on whether, yeah, how many applications do you have currently that are sitting or on the wait list, kind of, Tabitha?
So I have it, hold on. just a minute.
Last meeting, you said you had 4.
I said it's 4.
Yeah,
I have 6, but there's a couple that are questionable. Did you hear that? I have 6. I have a couple questionable ones because
Okay,
I get kind of half applications and then I don't follow up with them to finish their application till I can actually process it. So I plan on reaching out to like 2 to 3 in the next month.
yeah. Great. Well, good luck and holler if you can help you.
Thank you, Scott.
yeah, I think the other issue, Scott, with our helping, I mean, there's confidentiality issues around people
Sure.
applying and the information they have to provide. So I can understand why it's probably not appropriate for us to be involved at that level. So 6 applications, each application can receive up to
30,000.
30,000. And we have 200,000 available.
Yeah.
Okay. And to
But we also
apply,
have gotten, I think we've gotten 3 mortgage paybacks in the past 6 months. So they're coming in. I
Okay.
think people are selling their homes because it's a good time to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And to apply for more money from CDBG, not that we necessarily want to do that, because if we apply for more housing rehab money, which is a smaller pot than the CDBG Small Cities grant, we can only apply for one or the other in any given year. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
if we wanted more housing rehab money, we can only get, I think it's 400,000.
I'm
But
not
the-
sure of the
this-
number, but I trust you on that. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I have in my head. Don't trust me. That's what I have in my head. But the CDBG money is up to like 1.4 million.
Yes.
So it's to our advantage to keep applying for that more than the housing rehab in terms of the amount of money. Okay, I'm clear.
Yep.
Good. There's a consultant who helps you with this housing rehab money?
Yeah, it's because he has a building background. So he goes out and he inspects the properties. He works with the contractors
Okay.
to make sure everything's constructed. But he's also very, I mean, he's been doing this for so long. He's an excellent resource on CDBG and how the whole system works.
Okay. Is that Andy and Echo, or is that a different
No, it's
consultant?
Peter Testa.
Oh, Peter. Okay, I've heard his name. I don't know him, but I've heard his name. Okay, Peter Testa. Okay. Yep. Great. Great. Okay. All right. That brings us, is there anything else you want to tell us about anything?
Yeah,
Tabitha?
actually, I left something off the agenda. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The COVID-19 PPE stockpile. Have I mentioned that before? So this was a grant we got for $150,000 to buy protective equipment for COVID.
Yep, I think you did mention it once. Yep.
So we have that. We've spent down about 55,000 and we've got a whole room at Fitch Community Center filled with this protective equipment. So we have masks, we have N9, KN95 masks, we have the regular surgical masks, we have gloves, we have some Tyvek suits, we have some ventilators, we have protective shields and sheeting. So we have a bunch of stuff, and I wanted to bring it to you all as a committee to see if you'd be interested in taking part in it. If we are going to have distribution events, we might do something Halloween related or Christmas related, just giving away this because it's got to get out to the community and we need to spend down this grant. And if you have any ideas on ways to, or places might need it, right now, it's funny the way PPE is gone because we went from having COVID the first time and everybody, bought it all out, and then COVID went away, and then now we have a glut of it. So, so we have a lot, and we're looking to give it out.
Sure. I'm willing
Primarily,
to,
go ahead, Scott, what were you gonna say?
I'm willing to help her in any way that we can.
Thanks, Scott.
Great.
I would help distribute, Tabitha.
Thanks, Marie. And we're not
Yeah,
sure what that
Primarily-
looks like yet, but it might be at an event. We might just call on you to maybe man a table.
Yeah,
We having that October thing that we usually have?
The Fall Festival,
Yeah.
I don't think we're having that this year at Pequannock Plains.
Uh-huh.
I think that's been
Yeah.
deferred another year because of COVID. But so you're partly saying to us, if we know of a community event that would be a good place to distribute, we should let you know, send you an idea.
Yes.
Or if we
please.
have an idea about creating an event to distribute, we should let you know.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. And it's primarily gloves and masks.
Well, we're also getting hand sanitizer. We haven't ordered that yet. And Lysol wipes, disinfectant stuff. But yeah, primarily, I think the masks are the thing that most people want.
What about the
Mhm.
schools?
We haven't talked to the schools yet. We are under the impression they have their own budget, but I think that might be our next call.
Yeah.
And the other one that pops into my head is, nursing home type facilities
Right, like Connor Care.
Yeah.
whose budgets are probably pretty strained, and
Yeah.
I imagine the need is enormous.
I think small businesses, because so many people are walking into a small business without a mask, that they should have them to pass out at no cost.
Right, we did start with that. Paige Bronk, who's my boss, he's the economic development director. He has a really good relationship with the small businesses, so they were doing some distribution to them.
So he worked with the Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
and the Mystic Business Association, those things. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, Marge.
Hmm.
Yep, small businesses. Okay.
Yeah, we just want to keep everybody safe.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one for us all to think about. We might be able to offer some ideas on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Then we are to unfinished business. I don't think we have any unfinished business that I'm aware of. But we then have new business, if anybody has anything else that they want to bring up.
No.
No? Okay,
Well,
all right.
the new business thing would involve some of this from the ARPA allocation things that were planned. So where that's all tentative at the present, I don't think there's much we can touch on there. Because the public input's a part of our mandate, and to be helpful, as much as we can to help Tabitha, out a little. She got a big load on her back there, and if
Yes,
there's any way that we can pitch in with that aspect. Like maybe, I don't know, the TV channel, Groton TV channel there for some sort of a question and answer, or call in an input or whatever.
you're
Just-
talking about to get community input on how to spend the ARPA funds?
Yeah,
Oh. That's an interesting thought.
I just don't feel we're doing much to help out here.
Well, I would say that when we do launch this platform, I would love it if each of you would share it to your networks. I mean, just that's really important these days.
Oh, yeah.
Get the word out.
Sure. Any
And,
idea when those kiosks might be operational? Because that sounded fascinating.
It's really just a computer, but
Oh, okay. It's not a
Yeah.
kiosk. Oh,
I
okay.
know, I want to make a little kiosk.
Yeah,
I think in early October, mid-October, we're hoping for.
okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, anything around that, I'll call on all of you as my citizen volunteers to help get the word out there.
Please.
Yeah.
The other
Good.
thing, Tabitha, the other question I had, the affordable housing group,
Yes.
did that come to a conclusion? Is there a final report?
Yeah. So we put together a housing study that was just pie in the sky, all housing as well, with a different consultant. So
Yeah.
those two reports kind of came to us at the same time, and there was a lot of numbers in them, and some of the data wasn't quite syncing up. So we had to go back and redraft things with our consultants a bit. But I think we should be completed with those edits. I've got to hope in the next couple of weeks, and then get a public. So once then we release it publicly, it'll go to town council. It'll go to, we want to make it really broadly released for folks to see.
Mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd probably send it up to all of you as well. Be in the paper.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Mhm. All right. If there's no further business, anybody have anything else?
Can't think of anything.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I second.
Marie seconds. And just before I say all in favor, just our next meeting is, this is September, October, November, December. Anybody know our December date?
Yeah,
Is it in
8th.
our minutes?
December 8th,
December 8th.
according to
Great.
the last meeting.
December 8th, and by then, our new alternate should be appointed, and we need to either teach her how to just call in like Marge, or how to work Zoom. I'll be talking to her about that. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, everybody, thank you. Tabitha, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Every-
Hey,
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
bye-bye.